After a certain time, I cannot count anymore. Now, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, about the first verse, he gave lecture for 3 months.
Kaže Rohinisuta Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati na prvi stih prvog poglavlja pevanja davao lekcije 3 godine.
Therefore, Srila Prabhupada made over 10-page purport for the first verse.
Tako da je Srila Prabhupada napravio komentare duge preko 10 stranica za taj prvi stih.
The second verse, 6 pages only.
What did he say? Can you please repeat?
6 pages, you know.
Aha, 6 stranica samo.
Only. For the second verse.
Za drugi stih. Za drugi stih.
Kinchana wants to play Mridanga?
Kinchana?
Yes, yes.
Yeah? Why not?
Because you rarely join our session here.
Oh, there is a secret actually. He follows everything through YouTube, so you don't see him. Yeah, he doesn't join through Zoom, but you know how it's available on YouTube as well, immediately?
Yeah, I know.
So we usually follow both. Actually, he plugs in, but we follow through YouTube.
I suspected.
Okay. Okay, he is ready.
So why you don't look directly?
I don't know. I don't know.
No good line.
No, for me it's more comfortable.
No comfortable. Like this. Because then you can adjust to your time, huh?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, good.
Good. Okay.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yachodanandana Ratakanarandana Yachodanandana Ratakanarandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yachodanandana Prachatanarandana Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Om Shtabha Paramahamsa Bharadikacharya Sudharsat Sisi Matis Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Samaraj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Grantaraj Sima Bhagavatam Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktavinda Ki Jai All glories to the same devotees, all glories to the same devotees, all glories to the same devotees, all glories to Guru Kranga, glories to Prabhupada. Oh, verse, oh. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dharma Prochita Kaitavatra Parama Yermatsaranam Satam Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivadam Tapatrayon Mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Pararishvaraha Satyoriti Avarudyate Tra Kritibi Shushubhistat Kshanat Dharma Prochita Kaitavatra Paramanya Matsaranam Satam Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivatam Tapotrayon Mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Vim Kim Papararishvaraha Satyoridyavarutya Tetra Kritibi Shushubhistat Kshanat Dharma Prochita Kaitotra Paramanyamatsranam Satam Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivatam Tapatrayon Mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Vimka Kimva Pararishvaraha Sadyoridyavarudya Tetra Kritibi Shushubhistat Kshanat Dharma Prochita Kaitavatra Paramanivatsaranam Satam Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivatam Tapatrayon Mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Pararishvaraha Satyo Ridyavarudya Tetra Kritibi Shushubhistat Kshanat. Somebody likes to try?
Hoće neko da proba?
Dharma prayojita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapatrayon mulanam Srimad Bhagavata Mahamuni Krite Kimva Parairishvara Sadyo Hridiyavarudhyate Trakritibi Shushrushubhistat Kshanat.
Parairishvaraha. Noderman?
Još neko?
Niti?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Sorry, I don't have a book with me. I'm cooking. I'm listening. I'm just listening the class. Sorry.
It's on the monitor here.
Okay, let me check.
Otherwise, somebody else can try. Mataji maybe.
Dharma projita kaitavatra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavam astra vastum shivadam tapatrayon mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Parairishvaraha Sadyo Hridi Avarudyate Tra Kritibi Shushubhistat Kshanat. There you go.
Mataji?
Neko od Mataji?
Hey, Vanamali, come. Lahani, you try.
Okay. Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirvatsaranam satam vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapatrayon mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Parairishvarah Sadyo Hridavarudya Tetra Kritibi Shushubhistat Kshanat. Yeah, very difficult. This. Yeah.
Srimad Bhagavatam, you can read also first chapter, second verse, first canto, second chapter, text 12. Shushubi, oh no, Shushubi Radhatanasya Vasudev Kataruchi, Shushubi it is.
Ta reč se spominje i u Bhagavatam u prvom prevanju, drugom poglavlju, u stihu koga je citirao 12. verovatno.
Shushubi means by culture.
I šušubi znači kulturom, kroz kulturu.
the culture of hearing of Bhagavad Gita.
Kroz kulturu slušanja Bhagavad Gita.
Right, and we go to the translation. This is the second verse of Mangalacharana. That means auspicious invocation or invocation for asking or for indicating auspiciousness and the topic of the book.
Ovo je drugi stih Mangalacharana. Evo su radovi kod mene u zgradi.
Machine we don't need now in the class.
Yes, I know, but I can't stop it. It's in the building, so I apologize.
That's fine.
No, it's my building. So,
Yeah, I understand from your side.
Yes, unfortunately, yes. So, what to do? Klesha. So this is the second verse of the Mangalacharana verses, which invocates auspiciousness. That's what you said.
Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. This Bhagavad Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth in reality the highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart.
Potpuno odbacivši religiozno delovanje iz materijalnih pobuda, Bhagavata Purana iznosi najvišu istinu, razumljivu baktama potpuno čistog srca. Najviša je istina zbilja koja se za opštu dobrobit razlikuje od iluzije. Takva istina iskorenjuje trostruke bede. Ovaj prekrasan Bhagavatam koji je sastavio veliki mudrac Vyasadeva u svojoj zrelosti, sam je po sebi dovoljan za spoznaju Boga. Kakva je onda potreba za drugim spisima? Čim pažljivo i ponizno slušamo poruku Bhagavatama, takvim se negovanjem znanja svevišnje nastanjuje u našem srcu.
So then we go to the fifth and sixth paragraph.
Idemo sad negde na 5. i 6. pasus.
Nothing is apart from the substance.
Yes, I found. Ništa, eto to.
Nothing is apart from the substance, but at the same time, the energies are different from the substance. This conception is not contradictory. Srimad Bhagavatam explicitly promulgates this simultaneously one and different philosophy of the Vedanta Sutra, which begins with the Janmadhyasa Sutra.
Ništa ne može postojati odvojeno od suštine, ali se u isto vreme energije razlikuju od same suštine. Ovo shvatanje nije protivrečno. Srimad Bhagavatam otvoreno obznanjuje ovu filozofiju istovremene jedinstvenosti i različitosti, onako kako je predstavljena u Vedanta Sutri, koja počinje aforizmom Janmadhyasya.
This knowledge that the energy of the Lord is simultaneously one with and different from the Lord is an answer to the mental speculators' attempt to establish the energy as the absolute. When this knowledge is factually understood, one sees the conception of monism and dualism to be imperfect. Development of this transcendental consciousness grounded in the conception of simultaneously one and different leads one immediately to the stage of freedom from the threefold miseries. The threefold miseries are first, those miseries which arise from the mind and body, second, those miseries inflicted by other living beings, and third, those miseries arising from natural catastrophes over which one has no control. Srimad Bhagavatam begins with the surrender of the devotee unto the absolute person. The devotee is fully aware that he is one with the absolute and at the same time in the eternal position of servant to the Absolute. In the material conception, one falsely thinks himself the Lord of all he survives, and therefore is always troubled by the threefold miseries of life. But as soon as one comes to know his real position as transcendental servant, he at once becomes free from all miseries. As long as the living entity is trying to master material nature or control material nature, there is no possibility of his becoming servant of the Supreme. Service to the Lord is rendered in pure consciousness of one's spiritual identity. By service, one is immediately freed from material encumbrances. Okay, that's for now, and then next time we will have the last part.
Ovo je za sada, onda sljedeći put ćemo uraditi posljednji deo ovog stiha. Can I just read? Ovo znanje da je gospodova energija istovremeno ista sa gospodom i različita od njega, odgovor je na spekulacije mudrijaša da je energija sama po sebi apsolutna. Kada se ovo znanje zaista razume, uviđa se nesavršenost monizma i dualizma. Razvoj ove transcendentalne svesnosti zasnovane na shvatanju o istovremenoj jedinstvenosti i različitosti odmah vodi do stupnja oslobađanja od 3 vrste patnji. Trostruke patnje su sljedeće. Prve, one koje potiču od uma i tela, druge, one koje potiču od drugih živih bića i treće, one koje potiču od prirodnih nepogoda nad kojima čovjek nema kontrolu. Šrimad Bhagavatam počinje tako što se Bhakta predaje apsolutnoj ličnosti. Bhakta je potpuno svestan da je jedinstven s apsolutom, ali i da je istovremeno večni sluga apsolutnog. Čovjek koji se poistovetio s materijom pogrešno misli da je gospodar svega oko sebe i zato ga uvek muče trostruke životne patnje. Čim međutim spozna svoj pravi položaj transcendentalnog sluge, odmah se oslobađa svih patnji. Sve dok bude pokušavalo da zagospodari materijalnom prirodom, živo biće neće moći da shvati svoj pravi položaj sluge Svevišnjega. Ono služi Gospodu tek kada je svesno svoje čiste duhovne prirode i tako se odmah oslobađa materijalnih nedaća. That is the end of reading. For now.
Read again the verse. Dharma prochita kaita vautra parama nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavam atravastu shivadam tapatrayon mulanam. Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Pararishvaraha Sadyo Ridyavarudya Tetra Kritipi Shushubis Tatkshanat. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavad Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, Shushubi, Shushushu, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart.
Potpuno odbacujući materijalno motivisanu pobožnost, ova Bhagavata Purana izlaže najvišu istinu, koju mogu da shvate samo bakte potpuno čistog srca. Ova sušta istina je stvarnost, koja se razlikuje od iluzije i za dobrobit je svih jer iskorenjuje sve 3 vrste beda. Ovaj prekrasni Bhagavatam, koji je sastavio veliki mudrac Vyasadeva u svojoj duhovnoj zrelosti, sam po sebi je dovoljan za spoznaju Boga. Kakve onda ima potrebe za bilo kojim drugim spisom? Kada čovjek pažljivo i ponizno sluša poruku Bhagavatama, Svevišnji Gospod se usled takvog negovanja znanja nastanjuje u njegovom srcu.
So we already discussed the first line, completely rejecting all the religious activities which are materially motivated. This Bhagavad Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart.
Već smo prodiskutovali ovaj prvi deo, potpuno odbacujući materijalno motivisanu pobožnost, Bhagavata Purana, mogu i da je shvate samo bhakti potpuno čistog srca, jel?
So Kaitava Dharma, it is distinguished between pure Dharma or Sanatana Dharma or Sat-Dharma and Kaitava Dharma.
Važno je razlikovati čistu dharmu, Sanatana Dharmu od Kaitava Dharma.
So the difference is Sanatana Dharma is eternal religion. That means that what is cannot be separated at any time in this life or in other times, in other lives, in eternity from the soul.
Sanatana Dharma odnosi se na večitu pobožnost. To je ono što se ne može nikada iz života u život odvojiti od duše.
So Sanatana means eternal.
Jer Sanatana znači večno.
Dharma means occupation or nature or acting according to our nature.
A dharma znači angažovanje ili delovanje ili rad u skladu sa našom prirodom.
So the different natures depends on with what we are identifying ourselves.
Postoje različite prirode i bitno je sa čime se mi sami poistovećujemo.
Those who are on the bodily platform will consider the body as the self, they consider to fulfill my obligations and occupation in the human society and to the family and etc. Whatever is connected with it as the goal of life or the purpose of life.
Oni koji su na telesnom nivou, oni smatraju da je dovoljno to što ispunjavaju potrebe tela i porodice i društva, sve ono što je vezano za telo i tako misle da je to ispunjavanje svrhe života.
No. And those who identify themselves with the soul, with the self, with the Atma, with the transcendental self, who is an eternal part and parcel of the absolute truth, of the supreme truth.
Međutim, oni koji se identifikuju sa večitim jastvom, sa dušom, jel? Sa druge strane, kao večitim slugom apsolutne istine.
It's also therefore known as Brahman. The soul is also known as Brahman because the nature of the soul is transcendental.
Pa je zato tako duša poznata i kao Brahman, jer je priroda duše da je transcendentalna.
So the function, the dharma of the soul is to service to the supreme personality of Godhead.
Dharma duše je služenje svevišnje božanske ličnosti.
And everyone is ultimately servant. Either we're servant of God or we're servant of the dog or of the family or of the society. To somebody we're always servants.
I uopšteno govoreći, nekome smo uvek sluga. Bilo da je to sluga Bogu ili psu ili porodici ili kome god, uglavnom to nam je položaj.
Even the president of a country is ultimately the servant of the citizens.
Čak i predsjednik zemlje na kraju krajeva sluga građanima.
Although sometimes they forget after they are elected.
Iako nekada to zaborave nakon što ih izaberu.
Yeah, but that's another topic. We don't going in politics.
No, to je druga tema, nećemo se baviti politikom.
Everyone understands.
Svi razumeju.
So we are all servants.
Dakle, svi smo mi sluge.
Even the supreme personality of Godhead considers himself as the servant of his dear devotees.
Čak se i svevišnja božanska ličnost samu sebe smatra slugom svojih dragih bhakta.
And he finds devotional service is so attractive that he decides to even come in the mood of his most dear devotee as Radharani, as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to relish these transcendental mellows of loving devotional service.
Ta služba puna predanosti za njega je toliko slatka i neodoljiva da on odlučuje da se pojavi kao Radharani, ne bi li kušao draži te službe.
So therefore even the Lord enjoys the position as a servant of himself more than to be the Lord himself.
Tako da iz toga vidimo da je i Bogu draže i lepše da kuša upravo plodove te službe, jel? Nego da on bude gospodar sam po sebi.
Isn't it, honey? It's not easy to always be Ishvara all the time.
No. Pita me, zar nije tako da ti nije lako uvijek biti Išvara?
Or the master, or the boss.
Yeah. It's much easier to follow than
Because,
to make decisions.
because you always have to, everyone looks on you, you know, you always have to be perfect.
Kaže, tako je, zato što kada si ti gospodar, onda se svi gledaju i moraš biti savršen.
But Krishna has a nature, although he is completely perfect, he also enjoys, you know, imperfection.
Međutim, Krišna je priroda vrlo zanimljiva. Iako je on savršen, on uživa u nesavršenstvu.
In Sanskrit it's called mukta.
To se na sanskritu zove mukta.
To know everything is called gyata or vigyata.
Znate, sve se može zvati gyata ili vigyata.
Comes from jnana, knowing, you know, knowing everything means vigyata or sarvagya.
Znati sve, kaže se vigyata ili sarvagya.
So, if you know everything, you know, it's very boring.
Kad znate sve, onda je vrlo dosadno to.
Nobody can tell you anything anymore.
Niko vam više ništa ne može reći novo.
Because every time you have to, hey, oh, Prabhu, I already know.
Jer svaki put morate reći, dobro, znam to.
So, therefore on that platform there's no relationship really.
Tako da na tom nivou zapravo i nema odnosa.
We cannot establish a relationship with somebody who knows everything all the time.
Ne možemo ustanoviti odnos sa nekim ko stalno sve zna.
Unless we accept him as the supreme and the boss or the guru, and then we are subordinating, we're depending on and surrender and serve.
Ukoliko se ne postavimo tako da je ta druga osoba guru ili gospodari, onda se potčinimo i slušamo sve što govori.
Then this is more like an Aishvarya, dasya, in service mood.
Onda to više liči na dasya, raspoloženje.
But say Krishna, he's the supreme enjoyer.
Ali vidite, Krishna je vrhovni uživalac.
So he, besides of enjoying Aishvarya ras, he also wants to enjoy Madhurya ras.
I osim što uživa u Aishvarya rasi ili odnosu, on također voli da uživa i u Madhurya odnosu.
But Madhurya ras, the sweet ras available manifested in Vrindavan eternally, is not possible on the level of Aishvarya if I'm the boss.
No ta Madhurya rasa koja se izvorno manifestovala u Vrindavanu nije moguća na nivou Aishvarje, na tom nivou, ja sam sad gazda.
Even a king, you know, a king, if he is in the court, you know, he has to present a certain portfolio, agenda of behavior, and expect everyone knows, everyone has to follow certain rule and regulations.
Čak i kralj kada se nađe na sudu, recimo, mora da se ponaša drugačije, jer tamo postoje određena pravila, portfolio, agenda i tako dalje, i on mora da ih sluša.
In open public or in the court, you know, you cannot go to him and joke with him.
Ne možete tek tako u javnosti da priđete kralju ili na sudu, recimo, da mu priđete i da se šalite sa njim.
Or fight with him.
ili da se tučete sa njim, jel? Da se...
But if the king is at home,
ali ako je kralj kod kuće,
with his own family and nearest ones, you know, then he forgets his role as a king and he plays like a family man and as a husband and as a father, and he plays with his family.
Međutim, kralj kod kuće, okružen porodicom i svojim najbližima, opusti se i zaboravi na te pravila, tako da se tu ponaša kao voljeni otac ili...
It's not possible if one has to play the role of I'm the boss or I'm Ishvara.
I druži se sa njima na jedan drugačiji način, što ne bi bilo moguće da je sa mentalitetom ja sam šef, ja sam Ishvara.
Parama Krishna, he comes to the level of somebody who is dependent on his own devotee.
Jer on zapravo dolazi na nivo osobe koja zavisi od svoga bhakte.
Therefore he has mother, he has father, he has friends, he has lovers.
Zato on ima i majku i oca i prijatelje i ljubavnike.
Krishna lovingly subordinates himself to them and pleases them, you know.
I to su sve odnosi u kojima se on potčinjava njima iz ljubavi.
And they please him.
I onda oni njega naravno zadovoljavaju.
In this way, rasa, 4 kinds of rasas in Vrindavan are manifested.
I na taj način manifestuju se u Vrindavanu 4 vrste odnosa ili rase.
They eternally are in Vrindavan. Outside of Vrindavan, they're partially manifested in Mathura, in Dwaraka, and in Vaikuntha.
Ti odnosi večno su prisutni samo u Vrindavanu u potpunosti, a u Maturi i Vaikunti delimično su prisutni.
In the material world, these loving affairs of Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, lovers relationship is perverted, reflected like a shadow.
I u materijalnom svetu ti odnosi Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya i Madhurya su izokrenuto prikazani kao, znate i sami to poređenje kao u odrazu ogledala.
Therefore, we have all these rasas here in this material world, but they have a beginning and an end.
Zato imamo sve te rase i ovde u materijalnom svetu, ali one imaju početak i kraj.
And sometimes they're palatable and sometimes they're not so much palatable or relishable.
I nekada su te rase baš za uživanje, a nekada i nisu tako pune nekog zadovoljstva.
Because these mellows that take place in the modes of material nature, the gunas.
Jer se svi ti odnosi dešavaju u okviru guna materijalne prirode.
Therefore, we love somebody sometimes and sometimes we hate that person also.
Zato nekada volimo nekoga, a nekada mrzimo tu osobu.
Or we become envious to somebody.
Ili postanemo zavidni, izvinjavam se, na nekog.
All these things are not unknown in the Vaikunthas.
Sve te stvari nisu poznate u Vaikunti.
Although in the Vaikuntha is also competition.
Iako i na Vaikunti postoji takmičenje.
There are different groups, who try to please Krishna in different ways by their service.
Postoje različite grupe koje pokušavaju da zadovolje Krišnu svojom službom.
But ultimately, it's always in harmony and with a happy end.
No na kraju to je uvek nekako u harmoniji i sa sretnim završetkom.
But in the material world, many times the quarrels that don't end in a happy way.
A u materijalnom svetu svađe se često ne završavaju na lep način.
And this quarreling are taking place in different levels. First of all, in ourselves.
I te svađe odvijaju se na različitim nivoima, pre svega unutar nas samih.
Sometimes we struggle with our own identity, who I am and what is my duty, like that.
Nekada se mučimo sa svojim sopstvenim identitetom, ko smo mi i šta je naša dužnost.
So this constant struggle.
To je jedna konstantna borba.
And there's a struggle also then in the family, a fight sometimes, and then separation.
Zatim se dešavaju i svađe unutar porodica, pa se završavaju razvodom.
And then, or also in society, and then ultimately also death.
Takođe i u društvu postoje svađe, na kraju može da se završi i smrću, tako nešto.
In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says the jivas, the living entities, they're his eternal fragmental parts and parcels.
U Bhagavad Giti Krishna kaže da su žive bića njegovi večni sastavni delići.
But due to contact with the material nature, with the gunas, they struggle very hard with the mind and with the senses. And with sense gratification and happiness and distress.
Ali zbog kontakta sa gunama materijalne prirode teško se bore sa svim tim nesrećama i nedaćama koje ih snalaze.
Therefore, in the material world, we can never find real peace in this, as long we are in these gunas and who are like waves in an ocean, on an ocean.
Zato u materijalnom svetu nikada ne možemo pronaći mir, jer smo ophrvani gunama koje su poput talasa okeana.
So it is said in the Tapani Upanishad, Gopal Tapani Upanishad, that the cause of our struggles in the material world is the mind.
I rečeno je u Gopal Tapani Upanishadi da je uzrok naših borbi u materijalnom svetu zapravo naš
Also in the Bhagavatam we find this in several places, that the mind actually, and also Krishna says in the Gita, mind is the I would say enemy if he's not under control.
I u Giti Krishna kaže na nekoliko mesta da je neprijatelj ukoliko nije pod kontrolom.
So therefore yoga or spiritual life starts with the controlling of mind and the senses.
I zato yoga, duhovni život, započinje kontrolom uma i čula.
We cannot control mind and senses by pleasing him with feeding him with so many demands, but he always desires.
Ne možemo istrenirati i čula tako što ćemo ga zadovoljavati sa svim tim što on servira da hoće.
Because he will never be satisfied. He always demands more and more, like a child.
Jer nikad neće biti zadovoljan. On stalno traži sve više i više, kao dete.
Like a child, you can give a child so many gifts and presents, and he plays with it for some time, but then again, he cries, oh, mama, papa, I want to have this, I want to have that.
Kao dete, možete mu dati brdo igračaka i poklona, igraće se sa njime neko vreme, a onda će plakati, mama, tata, dajte mi ovo, dajte mi ono.
So we under the impression of the mind, we're always like children. Sometimes we are children in real children time, and sometimes we are children adults.
Tako smo mi pod uticajem večita deca. Nekada smo deca u pravom našem detinjstvu, a nekada se ponašamo kao deca i kad smo odrasli.
Every one of you who have children, you understand, they're always they're so active.
Svi vi koji imate decu razumete ovo, znate da su deca jako aktivna.
It's very difficult for them to fix the mind on something.
I njima je baš teško usmeriti na nešto.
Therefore they have to be trained, by the parents, by the teachers.
I zato su potrebni roditelji, nastavnici, vaspitači da ih istreniraju, ja?
Because if you let them go and do whatever they like, watching TV programs that they like, watching internet programs and I would say YouTube, whatever they like, then and playing these games in the internet, they become crazy.
Jer ako ih pustite da rade sve što hoće, da gledaju programe koje hoće, surfuju po internetu kako hoće, prate YouTube kako hoće, onda će oni postati ludi od toga.
There are even adults, who become like children, who are playing like crazy.
Ima i odraslih koji kao deca se igraju do besvesti.
It's considered a new addiction, new drug.
I smatra se da je to nova zavisnost, nova droga.
New drug, become completely addicted to these electronics.
Nova droga kada ljudi postaju potpuno zavisni od sve ove elektronike.
Just watch yourself in the morning. What's the first thing that you think about?
Zapitajte se samo ujutro šta je prva stvar na koju pomislite.
Some news.
Neke novosti.
Previously we got the newspaper, but now we
yes.
the electronic machine.
Ranije smo dobijali novine u papirnom izdanju, a sad je to elektronsko izdanje novosti.
Previously it was more easy because you only got one newspaper one time a day.
Lakše je bilo ranije. Jednom dnevno dobiješ novine i to je to.
So that means you went through the newspaper very swiftly, very fast.
I to znači da jako brzo prođete kroz novine, jel?
But nowadays you got news, so many news of so many different medias we get, and also personal contacts, and it is almost no end, constant flood of information.
A danas novosti stižu sa svih strana, što sa raznih medija, što iz ličnih izvora i praktično to je čitava jedna poplava informacija koja se ne zaustavlja.
Therefore our mind can never become peaceful.
I zato naš ne može nikad biti miran.
Only peaceful as long we are watching in the machine, Previously it was we were peaceful when we were smoking a cigarette, or how we say, associating with some pleasant people.
Ranije smo bili mirni samo kada bismo pušili cigaretu ili bili u društvu nekih prijatnih ljudi, a danas nam za to trebaju.
Or heard some nice, peaceful music.
Ili smo bili mirni kada smo slušali neku finu, mirnu muziku.
So, but it only stayed for some time, but then again one has to go in activity.
I to bi nas držalo neko vrijeme, ali onda posle nekog vremena ponovo moramo da se budemo aktivni.
So we cannot stop activity.
Dakle, ne možemo zaustaviti aktivnost.
You can tell the child to stop activity, to be not moving, for how long time? A few minutes, half an hour maybe.
Detetu možete reći da bude mirno, možda par minuta, pola sata.
And then, and because we never learned how to become self-control and peaceful, and therefore even if we become older, the same nature stays.
I ako nismo to naučili za detinjstva, ostaće nam taj nespokoj koga nismo naučili i kasnije kada smo u zrelom dobu.
So we can never fix the mind on the supreme transcendental object, the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead.
Tako da nikad nećemo moći usmeriti na lotosova stopala svevišnje božanske ličnosti.
It's too, I would say, too boring.
Suviše je dosadno za nas.
Too fictive, imaginary, because we cannot see him.
Ili je suviše onako imaginarno, ne možemo da ga vidimo, jel?
We cannot speak with him.
Ne možemo da pričamo sa njim.
We cannot play with him.
Ne možemo se igrati sa njim.
So, and in some religions we get even the picture, that God is very, very angry and very grave, old man.
A u nekim religijama čak postoji slika Boga kao jednog vrlo ljutitog i sedog starog čovjeka.
Because he's the oldest, he must be very old man.
Pošto je on najstariji, onda mora biti star, jel?
And because he always have to look on his book, of what is sin and what is piety, every soul is doing.
I pošto mora stalno u svojim knjigama da proverava šta je pobožno, šta je nepobožno, što svaka od duša radi.
So it's a very difficult job.
To je jako težak posao.
But therefore it's nice information to have to hear about Krishna.
No zato je lepa informacija kada slušamo o Krišni.
Because Krishna, although he's the oldest, he's the youngest also.
Jer zanimljivo, iako je Krišna najstariji, istovremeno je i najmlađi.
Because we have only experienced getting old in the material world, because in the material world everything is in a flux, I would say in a change.
Jer mi imamo iskustva samo ovdje u materijalnom svetu, iskustvo starenja, pošto je ovdje sve podložno promjeni.
But spiritual nature never changes, always stays the same.
No, duhovna priroda se nikada ne menja i uvek ostaje ista.
Therefore, Krishna's body is always young and fresh, Nava Yavanam.
I zato je Krišnino telo uvek mlado i sveže, Nava Jovanam.
So he never gets old. We never see pictures as an old man.
On nikada ne stari. Ne vidimo slike Krišne kao starca.
Krishna's old man we never see.
Nikad nismo vidjeli sliku na kojoj je Krišna prikazan kao starac.
When he was on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he was maybe at that time around 90 years old or something like that.
Kada je bio na bojnom polju Kurukšetre, tada je možda imao oko 19 godina.
He was 125 years on the planet.
A već je bio 125 godina na planeti u to vreme.
But Krishna's body is always Sachidanand Vigraha. Full of knowledge and bliss.
Međutim, njegovo telo je uvek Sachidananda Vigraha, puno znanja, večnog blaženstva i večnosti.
That's actually the eternal nature of the spiritual world. Everyone there has this nature.
To je zapravo večna priroda duhovnog sveta i svako posjeduje takvu prirodu.
Only in the material world we always have to go through changes.
I samo u materijalnom svetu moramo da prolazimo kroz promjene.
These changes constantly take place either in ourselves or in the family or the surroundings or then in the nation or in even global.
I te promjene se stalno dešavaju, bilo da su lične, u okviru porodice, nacije, globalne, stalno su tu.
So that's the nature of the material world, that it always is in flux. It's always moving, always changing. It's energy.
To je priroda materijalnog sveta, da je stalno u pokretu i da se stalno menja, jer je to energija.
Material world is energy, it's prakriti.
Materijalni svet je energija, prakriti.
So now we can find, the philosophy starts from where this energy, or science and philosophy starts, where this energy comes from.
I sada nauka ili filozofija počinje odakle je ta energija.
So therefore Bhagavatam gives us clear answer and description that energy comes from the supreme energetic, from the supreme powerhouse. It's the Mahapurusha, Lord Krishna.
I Bhagavatam nam daje odgovor da sva ta energija dolazi iz izvorne elektrane, a to je Krishna, Mahapurusha.
Actually originally from Krishna and Goloka, but because Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, he doesn't have to work so hard for creation, so he has expansions for the creations, the Purusha avatars.
Zapravo sve potiče od Krišne sa Goloke, međutim on je svevišnja božanska ličnost i ne mora da radi, on se tamo igra, ali ima Purusha avatare koji pomažu da se energije i sve ostalo usmeri.
They're same transcendental nature as Krishna. They're also Satchitanand Vigraha.
I Purusha avatari imaju istu transcendentalnu prirodu kao Krishna, oni su Satchitananda Vigraha.
Because their transcendental nature is not changing.
Jer imaju transcendentalnu prirodu koja se ne menja.
Transcendental bodies are not changing. They always look the same, always young and beautiful.
I njihova transcendentalna tela se ne menjaju. Uvek izgledaju isto. Uvek su mladi i lepi.
So it's like Krishna is the original candle, and all other Vishnu tattvas, they're getting light from Krishna. They're manifestations or expansions and expansion of expansions of Krishna.
To je kao da je Krishna izvorna sveća, a sve ostale Višnu tatve su sveće koje dobijaju svetlost od njega. Bilo da su ekspanzije ili ekspanzije od ekspanzije, sve su snabdevene energijom od njega.
Gita says, like a candle gives light to another candle, so you give one candle after another, so the light power is everywhere the same.
Kao što sveća jedna može da zapali druge, svetlost će svuda biti ista.
Therefore, every one of them is known as Bhagavan. That means full of six opulences.
I zato su svi oni poznati kao Bhagavan. To znači da su svi puni 6 obilja.
Only Krishna has 4 opulences, but Vishnu Tattva doesn't have.
Krishna ima 4 obilja koje Višnu tatve nemaju.
Like Narayana and Vaikuntha, and this is his sweet pastime with his devotees. He's playing the flute.
Kao Narayana, Vaikunti. Tu su njegovi lepe razmene sa baktama gdje on svira flautu.
So this kind of sweetness, his beauty, his lila, his flute play, his associates, these 4 things are only available in Krishna Lila in Goloka Vrindavan.
I te posebne stvari, njegova lepota, sviranje flaute, razmene sa njegovim drugarima, da tako kažem, i ta slatkoća, to je prisutno samo na Vaikunti. Samo Krishna to ima.
So in general, the absolute truth, that means the personality of Godhead is one, but he has different forms.
To znači, uopšteno, da je svevišnja božanska ličnost jedna, ali da ima različite oblike.
Because in the spiritual world, everything is not limited, it's unlimited. So it's ananta.
Jer u duhovnom svetu ništa nije ograničeno, sve je ananta.
Therefore, the Lord's forms are ananta rupam.
Tako su i gospodovi oblici ananta rupam.
He has unlimited forms and unlimited in their expansions, or in their features. There's so much opulence and so much greatness.
Ima neograničene oblike koji su neograničeni u svojim obiljima i izgledu.
We cannot understand Vishnu Tattva or Purushottama Tattva with our Dr. Frog mind.
I ne možemo ni shvatiti Višnu tatve ni Purushottama tatve našim umovima koji nalikuju žabe.
The only source of information is Srimad. Are the Puranas, and the best of the Puranas is Srimad Bhagavatam.
Jedini izvor informacija su Purane, a najbolje od Purana je Srimad Bhagavatam.
Therefore, in the Bhagavatam, we find the pure form of dharma or occupational religious duties to go in contact with that Supreme Personality of Godhead and try to meditate about Him, pray to Him, and serve Him and glorify Him.
I zato u Bhagavatamu nalazimo lepa uputstva kako da dođemo u kontakt sa svevišnjom božanskom ličnošću, da ga služimo, da mu se divimo i da ga nekako zadovoljimo.
Because we are all part and parcels of Him.
Jer mi smo svi njegovi sastavni delići.
Like we have hand and feet and head and nose and ears. We have so many part and parcels of everything belongs to the body.
Evo, pogledajte, imamo tako puno delova tela, ruke, noge, glavu, nos, uši, ali sve to pripada telu.
But they cannot work separate of the interest of the body.
I to ne može da radi odvojeno od interesa čitavog tela.
So similarly, the living entities will not find happiness and peacefulness as long we only act in our own selfish way.
I slično tome, živa bića neće naći svoj mir i sreću dok god deluju odvojeno na svoj sebičan način.
Because we forgot our nature, eternal nature as part and parcel of Krishna, Antaranga Shakti, Jiva Shakti.
Također zaboravili smo i našu izvornu.
Tatashta Jiva Shakti.
Zaboravili smo i našu izvornu prirodu, a to je da smo večiti sluga. Krishna je Tatasta Jiva Shakti.
Because the Jiva, as we heard yesterday, discussed this in the Bhagavatam class, that the three principal energies of the Lord.
Kao što smo juče na Bhagavatam lekciji razgovarali, postoje tri osnovne energije Boga.
I also sent this information from Adi Lila 4th chapter from text 60 on. You can read. It's very nice description of these different Shaktis.
Poslao sam i informaciju iz Adi Lile, stihove koje možete čitati o tim različitim Shakti.
Because it's very important to understand Shakti Tattva.
Jer veoma je važno razumeti Shakti Tattvu.
So in Bhagavad philosophy, we learn to understand what is Vishnu Tattva, what is Shakti Tattva, what is Jiva Tattva.
U Bhagavata filozofiji učimo da razumemo šta je Vishnu Tattva, Jiva Tattva, Shakti Tattva.
And we study and get the information of each other's relationship, you know.
Učimo i imamo informacije o njihovom međusobnom odnosu.
So there Shakti Tattva, there are different kinds of Shaktis.
Postoje različite vrste Shakti.
The original cause of all Shaktis, Shaktiman, is Krishna.
I izvor svih Shakti, Shaktiman je Krishna.
And the expansions of Shakti, they're various. And the original Shakti is Antaranga Shakti, is beginning with Srimati Radharani.
I ekspanzije Shakti su različite. I osnovni izvor svih Shakti, prva ekspanzija Shakti je Antaranga Shakti, Srimati Radharani.
So, like all avatars come from Krishna, all Shaktis come from Radharani.
Dakle, svi avatari dolaze od Krišne, a sve Shakti dolaze od Radharani.
Original Radha and Krishna are one.
Izvorno, Radha i Krišna su jedno.
Means Purusha and Shakti is always together.
Što znači da su Purusha i Shakti uvek zajedno.
So they're not in two different unities.
Oni se ne nalaze u dve različite, dve odvojene, ne kažemo dva odvojena mesta.
Actually, they have simultaneously they're one and also two.
zapravo oni su istovremeno i jedno i dvoje. Jel?
We should not think, oh, everything comes from the oneness, and therefore it's clear. Monistic philosophy is clear. Everything is one.
Ne bi trebalo da mislimo, aha, pa dobro, sve potiče iz jednog izvora. Dakle, monistička filozofija je u pravu, sve je jedno.
Therefore, Lord Chaitanya teaches us this Achintya Veda Tattva.
Zato nas je Gospod Chaitanya podučio Achintya Veda Tattvi.
The absolute truth is simultaneously one and different.
Koja kaže da je apsolutna istina istovremeno jedno i različito.
How to understand it with our doctor, with Dr. Frog mind, it is inconceivable.
A kako to razumeti sa umom doktora Žabe, pa to je gotovo nemoguće.
The absolute truth was unending, and has no beginning and an end. We cannot understand with rationalism.
Apsolutnu istinu koja je beskonačna, koja nema početak i kraj, ne možemo našim racionalizmom da shvatimo.
We can only accept it and understand it if we accept Achintya Shakti.
Možemo je prihvatiti i shvatiti jedino ako shvatimo Achintya Shakti.
That means the absolute truth is inconceivable.
A to znači da shvatimo i prihvatimo da je apsolutna istina neshvatljiva.
This is described in Padma Purana. Ataksi Krishna namadi nabhave krayam indriya sevamukhe jivado svayam eva sparatyatha.
To je opisano u Padma Purani.
Namadi nabhave krayam indriya. So we cannot perceive and understand Krishna and his different Vishnu forms with and name and pastimes, etc., with our material senses.
Krišnu i njegove sve Višnu oblike i sve te energije ne možemo shvatiti i obuhvatiti našim ograničenim materijalnim čulima.
Only when the senses become purified by hearing, chanting, and like that, Shravana, Dishute, Chitte, Koryodoi, by hearing and chanting and by devotional service, then it becomes revealed.
Samo kada se čula pročiste slušanjem i mantranjem i predanim služenjem, onda nam to postaje razotkriveno.
That means Shastra, they can give us information, but to realize we have to do ourselves.
To znači da nam šastre mogu dati informaciju, ali da spoznamo to moramo uraditi sami.
And it's only possible by surrender and by faith.
A to je moguće jedino ako se predamo i ako imamo veru.
Faithful surrender.
Dakle, ako se predamo sa verom.
And practice.
I ako praktikujemo, odnosno služimo.
And gradually it will become revealed.
I onda će nam se postepeno razotkriti.
Because then purification will take place.
Jer će se onda desiti pročišćenje.
In the spiritual world there's only one nature. It's Vishuddha Sattva.
U duhovnom svetu postoji samo jedna priroda, Vishuddha Sattva.
Vishuddha Sattva is not existing in the material world.
I Vishuddha Sattva ne postoji u materijalnom svetu.
In the material world we have the three gunas.
U materijalnom svetu imamo tri gune.
That means even Sattva guna is mishra. That means it's mixed.
Čak i Sattva guna je mišra, što znači mešovita.
Mixed with rajas and tamas.
Pomešana je sa rađasom i tamasom.
There's a constant flux, of flood of interchanges of these three modes of material nature.
I među te tri gune materijalne prirode postoji stalna promjena, talasanja.
So all the living entities, they are swimming and drowning in these three modes of material nature in this universe.
I u ovom univerzumu sva živa bića plivaju i dave se pod utjecajem te tri gune materijalne prirode.
Sometimes more with sattva, sometimes more in rajas, more in tamas, and it's always a game. It's always like a game.
Nekada su živa bića više u guni vrline, nekada više u guni strasti ili neznanja. To je kao neka igra, stalno se menja.
Therefore we feel sometimes happy, sometimes we feel very passionate, and sometimes we feel very lethargic and depressed.
Zato se nekada osjećamo jako sretno, nekada smo vrlo aktivni, nekada smo vrlo letargični i depresivni.
Or causelessly unhappy.
Ili bez ikakvog razloga se osjećamo nesrećnima.
And frustrated.
I frustriranima.
Or angry.
Ili smo ljuti.
These are manifestations of the modes of nature.
To su manifestacije guna prirode.
In the spiritual world is nirguna.
A u duhovnom svetu je nirguna,
That means there are no material gunas existing.
što znači da nema materijalnih guna koje postoje.
In the spiritual world is to charge only by the Vishuddha sattva.
I duhovni svet je ispunjen samo Višuda sattvom.
And this actually Vishuddha sattva is manifested by Balaram, first expansion of Krishna.
A Višuda sattvu je manifestovao Balaram, prva ekspanzija Krišne.
So from this Vishuddha sattva, because Balaram is the agent, in Krishna's expansion of pastimes.
I pošto je u tim zabavama ekspanzije Balaram osnovni agent,
Therefore he manifests the spiritual world.
On manifestuje duhovni svet.
He also manifests Krishna's, eternal abodes and pastime places and associates and trees and plants and mountains.
Manifestuje i Krišnino večno prebivalište gde se sprovode zabave i njegove pratioce i drveće i planine i sve ostalo.
And in the material world, he does the same thing, through the Purushas.
A u materijalnom svetu isto to uradi kroz Puruše.
So, therefore, in the spiritual world, rasa is manifested from Vishuddha sattva, from the one energy of Lord Krishna, known as Antaranga Shakti.
I tako se u duhovnom svetu sve to manifestuje kroz Višuddha sattvu, kroz Antaranga Shakti, energiju Gospoda.
It's already pointed out, Krishna has three main energies.
Već smo istakli da Krišna ima 3 glavne energije.
Antaranga Shakti, internal energy.
Unutrašnju energiju, Antaranga Shakti.
Bahiranga, the external energy, Maya.
Bahiranga, to je spoljašnja energija Maya.
And Tatashta.
I Tatashta Shakti.
Tatashta means marginal energy.
Tatashta znači marginalna energija.
We living entities, we actually belong to the Tatashta Shakti.
I mi, živa bića, mi zapravo pripadamo toj Tatashta Shakti.
The Vishnu Purana describes gives the example of a fire.
Višnu Purana daje primer vatre.
Lord Vishnu is the fire.
Gospod Višnu je vatra.
Complete fire.
Veliki požar.
And in this fire, from this fire, so many sparks emanating.
I jako mnogo iskri emanira iz te vatre.
So the sparks of the fire is also fire.
I te iskre vatre takođe su vatra.
So we cannot deny it. We cannot say, oh, it's illusion.
I ne možemo reći, ma ne, to je iluzija.
No, it's also fire. It's real.
Ne, to je takođe vatra i to je stvarno.
But we cannot claim I'm the whole fire. I'm only a part and parcel of the fire.
Ali ne možemo tvrditi, pa ja sam čitava ta vatra, već ja sam delić vatre.
But I eternally stay a unit, as a part and parcel. I never become the whole.
Ja ću zauvek ostati sastavni deo, delić i čestica, nikad neću postati celina.
That's the difference between monistic philosophy and Vaishnava philosophy.
U tome se ogleda razlika između monističke filozofije i vajšnavske filozofije.
Propounders of Vedanta from Shariraka, from Shankaracharya, they claim, that the living entities in this material world were actually ultimately also Brahman, were also God.
Jer sledbenici Šankaračarije, ako sam ja dobro shvatila, misle da smo mi živa bića ovde, pa i mi smo delići, ali mi smo isto Bog, tu nema razlike. Sorry for the sounds.
And even if God is coming to the material world, he has to accept the body also in the gunas. Maybe not in rajas or tamas, but in sattva guna.
Čak i ako Bog dolazi u materijalni svet, on mora da prihvati telo sa tim gunama. možda ne neznanje, ali rađe definitivno.
Therefore, they consider the Lord, even when the Lord avatar comes, he also has to accept the material body.
Tako da čak i kad avatar silazi, on mora da prihvata materijalno telo, oni to tako shvataju.
Therefore, also in illusion.
I to je sve, naravno, iluzija.
Therefore, they're called pashandi. They're offenders.
I zato ih i zovemo pašandi ili vređaoci.
Because they consider the Lord when he comes, he has his material.
Jer smatraju da kada se Bog pojavljuje u materijalnom svijetu, da postaje i on pod utjecajem materijalne prirode.
Maybe he's a little more bigger part of Brahman and we are smaller parts of Brahman, but when we all come together and merge in the supreme Brahman, then we are all the same.
Pa oni misle, možda je on malo veći deo Brahmana, mi smo malo manji delići Brahmana, ali kad se mi vratimo nazad u Brahma Jyoti i stopimo, sve je to jedno.
This is, I would say, the illusion of monism.
I to je iluzija monizma.
Therefore it's I would say, therefore they're called Mayavadis.
I zato se oni i zovu Majavadi.
Because they see everything only Maya.
Jer sve vide kao da je Maja.
Only illusion.
Samo iluzija.
So, but the fact is that the Lord never is a illusion. He always remains the same in the spiritual world, and even if he comes to the material world, he comes with the spiritual body, and he brings his spiritual energy with him.
No, činjenica je da Bog nikada nije pod utjecajem iluzije. Čak i kad dolazi u materijalni svet, on dolazi u duhovnom telu. Donosi sa sobom duhovne energije.
And actually, without the presence of the spirit, there's no life.
A zapravo, bez prisustva duha, ni nema života.
Material elements, they cannot exist without the soul.
I sami materijalni elementi ne mogu da postoje bez duše.
For as long the soul is present, the body is alive.
I dokle god je duša prisutna, telo je živo.
But when the soul leaves the body, then the body is earth, water, becomes dissolved in earth, water, air, ether, like that.
A kada duša napusti telo, onda se telo rastavi na vodu, vazduh, zemlju, etar i tako dalje.
Become decomposed of the elements from where he appeared.
I rastavlja se na elemente iz kojih je i nastalo.
But the soul also remains the same, like the Supreme Lord always remains the same. The soul, Atma, also remains always the same.
Međutim, duša ostaje ista. Kao što Svevišnji Gospod uvek ostaje isti, tako i duša uvek ostaje ista.
Only difference is the Lord always stays aloof, as we heard this morning. Aditya Varnam, Parastat. He's brilliant like the sun, and he's always above the Tamasa Parastat, this material existence.
Jedino što Bog uvek ostaje iznad svega toga, iznad materijalnog postojanja je uzdignut.
His material existence is called Tamasa.
A ovo materijalno postojanje zove se tamasta.
Darkness.
Tama.
Ignorance.
Neznanje.
But Krishna is like the avatar, Vishnu forms are all like as brilliant like the sun. It's Aditya Varnam.
A Krishna i Višnuovi oblici su sjajni poput sunca, oni su Aditya Varnam.
And even if it comes to the material world, the avatar is not polluted and infected by the material gunas.
I čak i kada dođe u materijalni svet, avatar nije zagađen ili pod utjecajem guna.
He always remains transcendental.
On uvek ostaje transcendentalan.
And the Jiva, the Atma, the eternal part and parcel, as soon we actually contact with the Lord and identifying himself with the Lord and in service, then we are also not influenced of the tapotraya, the threefold miseries caused by the material nature.
A zanimljivo je da je Jiva, uslovljena duša, čim dođe u kontakt sa Svevišnjim Gospodinom i služi Svevišnjeg Gospoda, takođe oslobađa sebe uticaja, trostrukog uticaja guna materijalne prirode ili veda.
How the living entity becomes free?
Dakle, kako živo biće postaje slobodno?
By coming in contact with the internal energy of the Lord.
Tako što dolazi u kontakt sa unutrašnjom energijom Gospoda.
Like Maya, like actually energy is originally one, but it acts in different ways.
Energija je zapravo jedna, ali deluje na različite načine.
Like electrical power.
Kao kao elektrana, ili kao struja.
Depends how you use it, you can affect different things.
U zavisnosti od toga kako struju koristite, možete dobiti različite efekte.
So the same, the Shakti who actually binds to this material world, Maya, can also deliver you.
Tako je na isti način Shakti koja vas vezuje za ovaj materijalni svijet Maja, ona vas također može i osloboditi.
So she is also Krishna's energy.
Zato što je i ona Krišnina energija.
With the task, to bind the living entities and capture the living entities in the material atmosphere.
Sa zadatkom da veže živo biće i uhvati živo biće u atmosferi, da tako kažem.
Devotional service, we come under the influence of the Daivi Shakti, that means the transcendental energy.
A predanim služenjem dolazimo pod kapu, da tako kažemo, Daivi Shakti, transcendentalne energije.
That means with the spiritual energy.
To znači dolazimo u kontakt sa duhovnom energijom.
And this energy is manifested from Vishuddha Sattva.
I ta energija manifestuje se iz Vishuddha Sattve.
And in this Vishuddha Sattva, there are three forms of this energy. It's called Sat, Chit, and Anand.
A u toj Vishuddha Sattvi postoje tri oblika energije, to su Sat, Chit i Ananda.
Sat means eternity or Sandini.
Sat znači večnost ili Sandini.
Sandini Shakti, it's eternity.
Shakti večnost.
That eternal existence.
Energija večnog postojanja.
No death.
Znate to?
No birth, no old age. All these things not existing in the Sat feature of this energy.
Sve te stvari, rođenje, starenje i tako dalje ne postoji u tom Sat obliku energije.
Then the second one is Chit, also known as knowledge or awareness.
Druga energija je Chit, znanje ili svesnost.
Or cognitions. Cognition.
Ili spoznaja.
This is called Samvit.
To se zove Samvit.
Samvit Shakti.
Samvit Shakti.
And then the third one is pleasure energy, Anand.
Treća je energija zadovoljstva, Ananda.
And the name of it is Latini Shakti.
A njeno ime je Hladini Shakti.
Latini Shakti, original.
Izvorna Hladini Shakti.
Because here we have Latini Shakti, Devi Dasi.
Ovdje imamo Hladini Shakti, Devi Dasi.
That's Latini Shakti original.
No to je Hladini Shakti izvorna.
Radharani, she is the embodiment of this Latini Shakti.
I Radharani je otelovljenje ove Hladini Shakti.
It means the pleasure energy of the Lord who gives supreme pleasure for Anand.
To znači energija zadovoljstva koja daje večnost, ako sam dobro čula.
From Radharani, there are so many expansions of Radharani, like gopis and queens in Dwaraka and Lakshmis.
I potiče od Radharani, ima toliko energije Radharani.
And even the Maya Shaktis in the material world, Durga, Kali, the manifestations, expansion of the Lakshmis of Vaikuntha.
Čak i Durga, Kali i ostale u materijalnom svetu, sve su ekspanzije od ekspanzije Lakshmisa Vaikunte.
Means Krishna never enjoys, he has no need to enjoy material energy.
To znači da Krishna nema potrebe da se bavi ovom materijalnom energijom.
The material energy is declared in the Bhagavad Gita as inferior energy, apara prakriti.
Jer je materijalna energija objašnjena u Bhagavad Giti inferiorna energija, apara prakriti.
Because Krishna is always pure, transcendently pure and not influenced by the material nature. Therefore, he only enjoys spiritual nature.
A Krišna je uvek transcendentalno čist i uživa u duhovnoj prirodi, a ne u materijalnoj prirodi.
Means he enjoys his Ladini Shakti.
To znači da on uživa u svojoj hladini šakti.
That gives him, his ultimate pleasure.
I to je njegovo krajnje vrhovno uživanje.
Ultimate and only pleasure.
Vrhovno i jedino zadovoljstvo.
Krishna doesn't need the material world to enjoy.
Krišni ne treba materijalni svijet da bi uživao.
But he's so merciful for those living entities as eternal part and parcels who turn themselves away from him, that they also have a place to live. So therefore there's this material energy, Maya.
No, on je izuzetno milostiv prema živim bićima koje su njegovi večiti delići, a koje su otišle od njega, tako da za njih stvara energiju Maju.
But as soon we turn ourselves to him and engage in bhakti yoga, then we become connected with the Supreme Lord.
No, čim mu se okrenemo i počnemo se baviti bhakti jogom, spajamo se sa svevišnjim Gospodom.
Then we become free from the gunas, free from the tapatraya.
I na taj način se oslobađamo. Oslobađamo se guna, oslobađamo se tapatraje.
And so in this way, this eternal nature also becomes revealed in us, this Satchitanand, although it's here already, but it's covered by the Maya illusion.
I večna priroda nam postaje razotkrivena. Satchitananda, iako je ona već tu, postaje nam razotkrivena i vidljiva.
So that's the topic of this of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and it is indicated in the second verse of the Mangalacharan by Srila Vyasadeva himself.
To je tema Srimad Bhagavatama i razotkrivena je ovdje u drugom stihu Mangalačarane od strane samog Srila Vyasadeva.
So that means the ultimate goal of all religions, of all dharmas, is to surrender to Krishna and to engage in loving devotional service for his pleasure.
A to je da je krajnji cilj sve religije i sve dharme predati se Krišni i predano ga služiti za njegovo zadovoljstvo.
Only that will ultimately satisfy the soul and make us happy.
Samo to će u konačnici zadovoljiti dušu i učiniti nas srećnima.
Without satisfaction, without peaceful mind, we cannot actually have real happiness.
I bez mi zapravo ne možemo biti zapravo sretni.
If we are not happy, how we can attract the Lord, to in any kind of devotion or prayers.
A ako nismo mi sami sretni, kako možemo nekim devocijskim molitvama privući Gospoda?
So therefore, the devotee should always be happy.
Zato bakta treba uvek da bude sretan.
Because he always is properly engaged.
Jer je uvek pravilno angažovan.
In hearing and chanting about Krishna and associating with nice devotees, with sattvatas, with purified personalities.
Angažovan je u slušanje i pevanje o Krišni, u druženje sa pravim finim baktama, sa sattvatama, sa čistim živim bićima.
Because only by this medium of pure devotees, this message of Bhagavatam is manifested in this world.
Jer samo preko čistih bakta ova poruka Bhagavatama manifestovana je u ovom svetu.
As pointed out later on in the 5th chapter, that this Bhagavatam is not a material creation.
Kasnije u 5. poglavlju je opisano kako ovaj Bhagavatam nije materijalna tvorevina.
Tatvag visarga chanataka viplavo yasmin pratishloka bhadavatyapi namnam anantyasya ashonkitaniva shrinvanti gayanti krinanti sadhava. So this Bhagavad Purana is an other creation, other manifestation of the Lord.
Ova Bhagavata Purana je posebna manifestacija Gospoda.
Material world is a manifestation.
Materijalni svet je također manifestacija.
so that the living entities have a place where they can live and fulfill all their desires according to their karma.
koji je tu da bi živa bića mogla da imaju svoje mesto i da ispune svoje želje u skladu sa svojom karmom.
But the Srimad Bhagavatam is another creation by the Lord, manifestation of the Lord for the benefit of the souls to get them out of this samsara, of this repetition of birth and death.
A Srimad Bhagavatam je druga odvojena manifestacija Gospoda koju je on omogućio da bi se živa bića mogla osloboditi večnog kruga rađanja i umiranja samsare.
It was especially composed by Srila Vyasadeva in his after he met Narad Muni.
I posebno ga je sastavio Srila Vyasadev nakon što je sreo Narada Munija.
And he wrote it down for the benefit of all the people.
I zapisao ga je za dobrobit svih ljudi.
Therefore, everyone who will hear it and accept it, they will. Everyone who is honest in this world will hear about it and will speak about it and will accept its teachings.
I svako ko je pošten u ovom svetu će ga čuti Bhagavatam, pričat će o njemu i prihvatit će njegovo učenje.
So is Bhagavat regular recitation or reading or participating in Bhagavatam classes creates a change in the heart.
I zato redovno čitanje ili recitovanje ili učestvovanje u Bhagavatam lekcijama pročišćava srce.
So, change in consciousness.
Menja svesnost.
It's like after a long day of work, you feel completely polluted. You have opportunity to take a nice shower.
Tako, na primjer, kao posle jednog dugog dana na poslu osjećate se potpuno zagađeno, a imate priliku da se lepo istuširate.
So how you feel after the shower? You feel like born again, not?
I kako se osjećate posle tuširanja? Kao da ste ponovo rođeni, zar ne?
You become completely fresh and rejuvenated.
I potpuno ste nekako sveži i podmlađeni.
So therefore, even Shankaracharya, he recommended that one should recite Bhagavad Gita and taking who is like purifying like Ganga water.
Tako je Shankaracharya rekao da treba čitati Bhagavad Gitu, jer ona pročišćava kao Ganga voda.
Ganga water is purifying, so Krishna Katha from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are even more purifying.
A znamo koliko Ganga voda pročišćava, međutim Krishna Katha iz Bhagavad Gite i Srimad Bhagavatama pročišćavaju još više.
Because if you want to become purified by taking bath in the Ganga, you have to do it again and again.
Jer ako želite da se pročistite kupanjem u Gangi, morate to ponavljati.
But if you come in contact and hear even one verse or a half a verse or just one word of this great literature like Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, it will change your heart.
A ako dođete u kontakt i čujete barem deo stiha ili jedan stih iz Srimad Bhagavatama ili Bhagavad Gite, to vam može promeniti srce.
Just in one time hearing, what to speak if you hear every day.
To je efekat jednog jedinog slušanja. A šta reći o tome ako se sluša svaki dan?
Actually, it's recommended to hear and read Bhagavatam every day, eight days in the week.
Zapravo, preporučeno je da se sluša Srimad Bhagavatam 7 days a week.
No, 8 days a week.
8 days a week, sorry. 8 dana nedeljno.
Because Monday we start again. It's not
okay.
Not that we end after 7 days.
To je zato što u ponedeljak ponovo počinjemo, a ne da završimo posle 7 dana.
Because there's Bhagavad Chaptaha, to hear Bhagavatam 7 days in the week.
Aha, jer postoji ta Bhagavad Chaptaha kada se sluša Bhagavatam 7 dana nedeljno.
Very famous in India.
I oni su poznati u Indiji.
It's a karma kandya process, where people come and hear about Krishna Lila from Bhagavatam.
To je proces karmakande, gdje ljudi dođu i slušaju o Krištinim lilama iz Bhagavatama i Bhagavad Gite.
From mostly professional reciters.
I to uglavnom slušaju profesionalne recitatore.
But after that, everyone forgets and goes home and goes, I would say, go on in their own life.
I nakon toga svi to zaborave, vrate se kući i vrate se svojim uobičajenim životima.
But that we cannot imitate Maharaj Parikshit because Parikshit Maharaj, he could hear Bhagavatam 7 days because he only had 7 days remaining in his life.
Ne možemo imitirati Parikshit Maharaja. On je slušao Bhagavatam 7 dana jer je njemu preostalo 7 dana života.
But supposedly we have more than 7 days, although nobody knows. Therefore, we should every day practice hearing about Bhagavatam and serving the Bhagavatam.
No, pretpostavimo da mi imamo više od 7 dana, mada to niko nikad ne zna koliko nam je preostalo, tako da zato trebamo svaki dan slušati i služiti Bhagavatam.
And we should not only do it 7 days in the week, but constantly. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
I ne treba to da radimo samo 7 dana u nedelji, već stalno. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Means regularly, every day, regularly hearing Bhagavatam is called Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
To redovno, svakodnevno slušanje Bhagavatama zove se Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
And everything that is inauspicious in ourselves will become removed, purified.
I sve što je nepovoljno u nama samima bit će otklonjeno.
Astrapeshu apatreshu apatre. Patra means auspicious, apatra means inauspicious.
Badra znači povoljno, a badra nepovoljno.
Astrapeshu apatreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhakti bhavati naishtiki. And then pure devotional service, bhakti will become manifested in your heart.
I onda će se postepeno manifestovati čisto predano služenje bhakti u vašim srcima.
Because you come in contact with the transcendental energy of this Antaranga Shakti.
Jer ste došli u kontakt sa transcendentalnom energijom Antaranga Shakti.
A manifestation of Vishuddha Sattva.
A ona je manifestacija Vishuddha Sattva.
And that will give a throughout purification, spiritual purification, and all inauspiciousness will be driven away.
I to će vam pružiti duhovno pročišćenje i sva nepovoljnost će otići.
And therefore the life of a devotee is auspicious, it's always happy and joyful.
I zbog toga je život bhakte povoljan, on je uvek sretan i pun radosti.
Therefore we should always start the day with reading or hearing at least one verse of Bhagavatam.
Tako da uvek treba da započnemo dan tako što slušamo ili čitamo barem jedan stih Šrimad Bhagavatam.
And also end the day with one verse of Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita.
I treba da završimo dan sa barem jednim stihom Bhagavatama ili Bhagavad Gita.
If you do this as a regular habit, then you will find out very soon the effect.
I ukoliko to usvojite kao redovne navike, vrlo brzo ćete vidjeti efekat.
Instead, that in the morning when you rise first to look what are the news in your mobile phone.
Umjesto da prvo kada ustanete ujutro gledate šta ima novo u mobilnom telefonu.
You open the Bhagavatam and read the news of Vaikuntha and of Krishna Lila.
Otvorite Bhagavatam i pročitajte novosti vezane za Vaikuntu i Krishna Lilu.
So then it will create completely another atmosphere. The mind will immediately feel peaceful.
I će se odmah promeniti i osjećat će se mirnim.
Because most times when you open your mobile phone in morning of the news, it's mostly not something very auspicious. It's always agitating news.
Uglavnom kad god otvorite vesti ujutro da čitate ostale, nikad nisu smirujuće, verovatno vas uznemiravaju najčešće.
Therefore, we need this positive, transcendental information. We have to take it like a medicine every day, morning and evening.
Zato nam treba ta pozitivna transcendentalna informacija i treba redovno da je uzimamo ujutro i uveče.
If you're a diseased person,
Kao da ste bolesni
and then you go to a doctor,
i idete kod lekara
or you go to the gymnasium and not to physiotherapy or some
i onda idete kod fizijatra
yoga therapist or gymnastic therapist.
ili kod nekog yoga terapeuta,
Then he said, you take this medicine, you take this diet, and you take this and you perform these exercises, but you have to do it every day your whole life.
i onda će vam oni reći, evo uzmite lekove, uzmite i na ovaj način ishrane, međutim ovo su i vaše vežbe i to sad treba da radite do kraja života.
Then we do it for some time, but then we forget and we go back to our old routine.
I onda mi to radimo neko vreme, a onda to zaboravimo i vratimo se našoj uobičajenoj rutini.
And then we suffer again.
I ponovo patimo.
Then we remember again the prescription of the doctors and the experts.
I onda se ponovo setimo tih uputstava doktora i eksperata.
Yeah, I should take this medicine, that this diet, and don't eat this and that, and I should do this exercise again.
I setimo se, jao da, treba da uzmem ovaj lek i ovu dijetu i treba ovo da vežbam.
The problem is with always beginning and stopping and beginning again, then it becomes a little troublesome and a little difficult with the time.
I problem kada ovako se ponašamo, započinjemo pa prestajemo, pa ponovo započinjemo i prestajemo, to onda uzrokuje nevolje.
But if you do it in a regulated way every day, that becomes a routine and it becomes your second nature. So you do it it becomes pleasant, it becomes very joyful.
No ako to radite svaki dan, vremenom ono postane vaša druga priroda, nije teško i zapravo vam donosi radost.
And you see results immediately. So why you have to give it up and go back to the bad habits that brings you again into trouble?
Plus također vidite odmah i rezultate, pa zašto biste onda od toga odustajali i opet zapadali u nevolje?
Don't listen to your mind.
Zato nemojte da slušate vašu.
Mind tells you something, do this again. No, now we go back over the way.
Vam kaže, ajde, uradi ovo sada. Ali ne, vi uradite onako kako Bhagavatam nalaže.
The demigods thought one should be very determined, very eager in this process of meditating and glorifying the Lord and serving the Lord.
Treba biti veoma odlučan i onako entuzijastičan u ovom procesu meditiranja na Gospoda.
So has to be very determined, and this determination comes, if you get results.
I ta odlučnost dolazi ako imate rezultate.
So you only get results by regulated practice.
No rezultate ćete dobiti samo redovnom praksom.
It's even materially like that and spiritually also.
Tako je i materijalno i duhovno.
Spiritually we get sometimes result very quickly.
Duhovno nam nekada rezultat dođe jako brzo.
But then to make further progress, we have to work a little harder and be a little more steady and determined.
No da bismo dobili dalje progres, napredak, moramo malo jače da se trudimo i da budemo malo odlučniji.
Because Krishna wants to see our eagerness.
Jer Krishna želi da vidi našu spremnost.
Our determination.
I našu odlučnost.
Then of course he helps from inside and from outside, from devotees.
Naravno on pomaže. Pomaže iznutra i spolja kroz bakte.
So he is always ready to help.
I on je uvek spreman da pomogne.
But we have to agree, because he will not force us to do something that we don't like.
No mi se moramo složiti s tim, jer on neće nikada na silu raditi nešto što mi ne želimo.
Only if you like, then the Lord will help you, and then progress will become very fast, very you can feel it.
Ako mi to želimo, Gospod će nam pomoći i onda će napredak biti veoma brz i mi ćemo to osjetiti.
What's the first manifestation? How you feel that you're progressing?
I koja je prva manifestacija kako osjećate da napredujete?
You become disinterested in sense gratification, in selfish activities, in materialistic activities.
Postanete nezainteresovani za zadovoljavanje čula, materialističke delatnosti, sebične delatnosti.
Become more interested in spiritual activities, in bhakti yoga process.
A više vas zanimaju duhovne delatnosti i proces bhakti yoga.
Also, as long we have to keep the body and family and everything together, so we have to also, as external obligations or duties, perform our duty, but at the same time, don't forget Krishna, always remember Krishna, don't forget him, and always engage in this practice as much as we can.
Naravno, sve dok moramo održavati telo zajedno i brinuti se o porodici, postoje materijalne dužnosti koje moramo obavljati, međutim istovremeno ne smijemo zaboraviti Krišnu, uvek ga služiti i uvek ga obožavati u paraleli.
Because mind always finds excuses.
Jer uvek nađe izgovore.
Why today we should not practice?
Zašto danas baš ne bi trebalo da praktikujemo predano služenje?
So much, it's one day take off is no problem.
Pa onda kaže pa ajde jednom da ne uradiš to, pa to nema veze.
No, this is not existing bhakti yoga.
To ne postoji u bhakti yogi.
You do everything every day, like eating and sleeping and drinking and all this we have to do every day, and breathing. No?
Sve se radi svaki dan, kao što svaki dan pijemo vodu, jedemo, dišemo.
So the more you actually advancing Krishna consciousness, you cannot live without Krishna conscious practice.
Što ste više napredni u svesnosti Krišne, ne možete živjeti bez praktikovanja svesnosti Krišne.
Then the mind, although in the beginning, as long you listen, he always seems to be loud, he becomes lesser and lesser and lesser.
I onda iako je on uvek glasan, vremenom, kada vidi da vi baš i ne slušate, postaje sve tiši i tiši.
But they don't want to kill the mind.
No ne želite da ubijete
Others want to kill the mind.
Drugi žele da ga ubiju.
No, we don't want to kill the mind. We want to only purify him that he become happy.
Mi uopšte ne želimo da ga ubijemo. Hoćemo da ga pročistimo, da on postane takođe sretan.
Because ultimately the mind is a great enjoyer. It's our sixth sense.
Jer je veliki uživalac, on je naše šesto čulo.
So as soon he will realize, oh, there's actually so much nice enjoyment with the eyes, with ears, with food, everything, in Krishna consciousness.
I onda čim on shvati da ovdje ima tako puno stvari da se uživaju očima, ušima, lepe hrane u svesnosti Krišne, i njemu će biti lepo.
He will become automatically happy and satisfied.
Onda i postaje automatski sretan i zadovoljan.
And then you actually can live very nicely, even in the material world, without becoming infected of it.
I onda možete zapravo veoma lepo živjeti čak i u materijalnom svetu, bez da vas to pogađa.
Always keep Krishna in the focus.
I da uvijek držite Krišnu u fokusu.
Okay.
Dobro.
Then I stop here.
Onda ću stati ovdje.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Tahini, some questions arrived?
Jesu li stigla neka pitanja? Just a second, I should check. Can you help me, Akinjan?
Yes.
I can't. The mouse doesn't work or something doesn't work, huh? Okay. So, let's see.
No.
I don't see any questions actually.
Very good.
None. All is clear. Sve je jasno, jel? Nema pitanja.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And anyway, we have no Russians. If I will give the same lecture in Russia, and then so many questions will come.
Dao istu lekciju u Rusiji, puno bi pitanja bilo.
Because they can ask questions you cannot even many times not answer proper.
I oni tako postave neka pitanja na koja zapravo ne možeš ni dati tačan odgovor.
But you're simple devotees here, not so much complicated.
No, vi ste ovdje jednostavni bakte, niste komplikovani.
Good. Hare Krishna. Then
Hare Krishna.
have a nice week.
Svima želim lepu nedelju.
With Krishna in the center and with a nice Krishna conscious experience.
Stavite Krišnu u centar i želim vam lepo iskustvo svesno Krišne.
Okay, Akinchan.
Yes.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, Hare
Thank you very
Krishna.
much. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Niti, Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.
Maharaj, wonderful class.
Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.
It's also practice because I see it helps me a lot if 3 classes in the week, you know, so my mind becomes tuned in now.
Kaže, navežbao sam se 3 lekcije nedeljno, pa sam se navežbao sad već.
Actually, Gauranga Priya told me now we give more lectures than when you're in tour or when you're in Vrindavan.
Rekla mu je Gauranga Priya da je više lekcija časova nego kada je na turneji ili u Vrindavanu.
Because in Vrindavan I gave 1 lecture maybe in a week.
Jer u Vrindavanu možda 1 lekciju nedeljno daje.
Sometimes only after 2 weeks, 1 in 2 weeks.
Nekad i 1 u 2 nedelje.
Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavata maybe once in a month.
Uglavnom Bhagavad Gitu, a Bhagavata možda 1 mesečno.
Or when I gave privately, but only in festival time and devotees were there in Kartik or in Gaur Purnima time. Then of course it was a little more.
Ali jedino za vreme festivala Gaur Purnima ili Kartika onda dajem više lekcija privatno kad ima puno bhakti.
When I go on tour, then I only give 1 class a day and I stay 2 days in one place. That means I give 2-3 classes.
A kad sam na turneji, onda dajem jednu lekciju dnevno, ali ostajem na jednom mjestu 2 dana, što znači da tako dam 2-3 lekcije nedelje.
Always have to far distances to go.
Jer moram da putujem daleko.
So then I arrive, then I will take 1 day rest, and then I will again maybe 2-3 classes. So in the week there's maybe also not more than 3 or 4.
Tako da i tamo kad sam na turneji zbog velikih razdaljina kuda idem, ne mogu dati više od 2-3 lekcije. Maksimum 4. Here is a question. Jordan, to everyone. I have a question. He says, Shri Rohinisuta Prabhu said, Jordan, I don't know. Who is that?
Jordan, for your information, is from Macedonia.
I didn't know. I apologize.
Yes, he's very famous. He's a long time all around.
Oh, nice.
You were also in Macedonia in our time when I was there, you know, and you were my translator. And he was already around at that time, right, Jordan?
Gray hair then. Okay.
He was a young bhakta at that time.
Nice.
And now he's an old bhakta still.
Nice. He says, Shri Rohinisuta Prabhu said that our eternal nature is revealed. My question is when this happens. I also read that every soul has its uniqueness.
It happens as soon you become purified.
Just to translate, please. Bhakta Jordan je pitao, naša duhovna priroda nam biva razotkrivena i onda on pita kada. I kaže, Shri Rohinisuta Prabhu, čim postaješ pročišćen, čim se pročistiš?
Sorry, I cannot give you exactly the time when you...
Izvini, ne mogu ti reći tačno vreme i dan i sat kad će to biti.
Although I have a Swiss watch, you know, but even they cannot tell it.
Iako imam švajcarski sat, ali ni to ne pomaže.
So, but it will be revealed if you become purified and come in contact with this internal energy. If you attentively heard the class, it's explained.
No, razotkrit će ti se ako dođeš u kontakt sa ovom unutrašnjom energijom. Ako si pažljivo slušao lekciju, onda si verovatno čuo.
So if you are lucky, you can in this life, and if you are not so much lucky, Prabhupada says, then even in millions of lifetimes not.
Kaže Šrila Prabhupada, ako si sretan, onda već ovog života, ako nisi baš tako sretan, onda ni za milion života.
So Krishna consciousness needs sincerity, but it needs also good fortune.
Za Krishna potrebna je iskrenost, no potrebna je i sreća.
Bhagyavan achieve. Bhagyavan means fortune, good fortune.
Bhagyavan znači dobra sreća.
So the fortunate soul will meet Guru and receives the Bhakti Lata Beach.
Sretne duše srešće duhovnog učitelja i primit će Bhakti Lata Beach.
Cultivation of the Bhakti plant, it will grow and ultimately it will manifest itself to Goloka Vrindavan.
I negovanjem Bhakti biljke, Bhakti Late, ono će rasti i vremenom će otići do Goloka Vrindavana.
Because this is analogical.
To je analogan proces.
Yeah, but it gives us an idea because because we live in a three-dimensional world, we always need analogies of things that we know.
I pošto živimo u trodimenzionalnom svetu, uvek su nam potrebne analogije za stvari kakve mi razumemo i poznajemo.
Because we are not on the pure transcendental platform to understand transcendental subject matters, because it's too pure unknown for us now, for our minds.
Jer nismo na čistom transcendentalnom nivou da bismo mogli da razumemo čiste transcendentalne teme. To je za naš um prekomplikovan.
Because the mind and with the help of intelligence can only recognize what he knows.
Jer uz pomoć inteligencije može da prepozna samo ono što poznaje, što mu je poznato.
What he doesn't know, even if he sees with the eyes, he cannot recognize.
Ali ono što ne poznaje i što mu je strano, čak i ako očima vidi, neće prepoznati.
But there are many things in this world we cannot see because of our conditioning of the mind.
Mnoge stvari tako u ovom svetu mi ne možemo vidjeti jer je naš um uslovljen.
Therefore, Shastra always have to give us example in of an analogy.
I zato nam šastre uvek daju neke primere, neke analogije.
The Bhagavatam is full of analogies.
Bhagavatam je, na primjer, pun analogija.
Bible also is full of, especially Old Testament, and Jesus also gave so many analogies.
Biblija također, naročito Stari Zavet, puni su analogije.
And because it is related to our, experience in this material world, therefore we can grasp, we can understand.
I ukoliko nam je tako prikazano analoški i povezano sa našim iskustvom u materijalnom svetu, mi onda to možemo razumjeti.
So therefore we have to, we can learn. Therefore the great teachers and acharyas, and even they teach us through analogies.
Zato nas veliki učitelji i ačarije podučavaju kroz analogije.
They pack the process in analogy so that we can understand and practice and take it up.
Oni zapravo upakuju proces u analogije tako da bismo ga mi mogli razumeti i praktikovati i sprovesti u delo.
We all have experience with plants.
Imate iskustvo sa biljkama? Yes.
Yes. What happens to your plants if you neglect them?
Šta se dešava sa vašim biljkama ako ih zapostavite? They die away. Yeah?
And what happens to them if you don't send them nice, loving vibrations?
A šta im se dešava ako im ne šaljete te lepe vibracije pune ljubavi?
What happened?
Yeah, they die away. They dwindle a little. Malo se skupe.
Oh, yeah, I understand. You also have this a bhakti plant in your heart, planted since the time of your initiation, receiving Hare Krishna mantra.
I onda to možete lakše da razumete ako ovo znate. Jer imate bhakti latu u svom srcu koja vam je zasađena onda kada ste u vreme inicijacije primili inicijaciju Hare Krishna mantra.
But we are taking care for the plant.
I onda treba da se brinete o toj biljci.
Especially in the beginning, it's very tender.
Naročito na početku. Veoma je nežna.
Very sensitive, You have to protect it from natural enemies.
Veoma je nežna i osjetljiva i morate je štititi od prirodnih neprijatelja.
Not too cold, not too hot, not from certain insects and plants who are not favorable, who are devouring, eating up the good plant.
da joj ne bude suviše toplo, suviše hladno, od insekata, od drugih biljaka koje mogu da je nadvladaju i da je unište.
Therefore, with the transcendental eye or vision, you always have to observe, you have to become cognizant what is going on in yourself and around yourself.
I zato svojim transcendentalnim okom uvek morate kognitivno posmatrati šta se zapravo dešava u vama i oko vas.
For that we have to wake up, sorry.
I za to, nažalost, moramo da se probudimo.
Cannot do it in the sleeping stage.
Ne možemo to raditi u uspavanom stanju.
Therefore, Shastra says, only the wake up souls, they can practice Bhakti Yoga, those who have life.
I zato Šastre kažu, samo probuđene duše mogu se baviti Bhakti jogom, one koje imaju života u sebi.
If you want to sleep in the lap of Maya, then not even Krishna himself can bring you out of it.
A ako hoćete da spavate u krilu Maje, ne može vas ni sam Krishna izbaviti.
So it's a lot in our hands also.
Dakle, puno toga je u našim rukama.
So we have to endeavor, we have to cultivate the process according to the guidelines of Vidi given by Guru and Shastra.
Zato se moramo truditi i moramo praktikovati proces, slediti vodilje Vidi, Gurua i Šastre.
And then by the help of Guru, the Vaishnavas, and ultimately also Krishna, especially first from within, from the super soul, we can make a gradual advancement.
A onda uz pomoć Gurua, Šastra i iznutra i spolja možemo polako, postepeno napredovati.
As Krishna says in the Gita, Tesham satate yuktanam vachatam priti purvakam tadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayanti te.
Kao što Krishna kaže u Bhagavad Gita.
Satate yuktanam. So those words always are engaged in my devotional service or connected with me.
Onima koji su uvek angažovani u predanom služenju ili koji su spojeni sa mnom.
Yukta means unity, yoga, in harmony with the Lord.
Yukta znači jedinstvo, u jedinstvu ili u harmoniji sa Gospodom.
In favorable way.
Na povoljan način.
So, Tesham Tatad Yuktanam Bachatam Priti, engaging in loving devotional service.
I don't hear very well, but we will see. I apologize. What to do with this? So can you please repeat?
Engaging in bhakti devotional service, Tesham Sata Yuktanam Bachatam Priti Purvakam.
Angažovanjem u bhakti, predanom služenju, Bhajatam Priti Purvakam se dešava, jel?
Means those who serve the Lord with affection, with priti.
To znači da služimo Gospoda sa privrženošću, sa priti.
Tadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayanti te. I give them the intelligence how they can come to me.
Dajem im inteligenciju kako mogu doći meni.
So you cannot find the way to go there.
Možete naći sami način da odete tamo.
Takes place. It's you can endeavor, but then it's in the Lord's hand when He will take you and reveal your svarup in the spiritual world.
Možete se truditi, ali to je u Gospodovim rukama. Kada će On sebe vama razotkriti i kada će vas odvesti tamo.
So, what you can do now is to chant, to hear, to remember.
Ono što sada možete uraditi, to je da mantrate, slušate, da se sećate.
And maybe gradually become attracted to a certain form and the pastime of the Lord and associates.
I možda da vas vremenom privuku neki oblik Gospoda ili pratnja ili forma.
But that will be revealed. We cannot enforce it.
Ali to će vam se razotkriti. To ne možemo na silu uraditi.
Also, what happens when you enforce it?
Jer šta se dešava ako to na silu pokušate?
Sometimes you feel, yes, I'm a saki or a manjari, and another time, now maybe it's better I'm a servant or a saka, a friend.
Jer ako to probate na silu, onda će nekad vam se činiti, pa da, dobro bi bilo da se mene Saki, Manđari, a onda drugi put, pa zapravo ja bih mogao biti Saka ili prijatelj.
And sometimes again feel, how to say, attraction to Maya.
A nekad vam je opet Maja preča.
So in this way we are not fixed in certain rasa, this is pseudo.
I na taj način onda nismo usredsređeni u jednoj rasi, to je onda pseudo urađeno.
We always, how to say, speak against sahajyas, but this is sahajya tendency also in ourselves.
Često govorimo protiv sahadžija, no i ovo je tendencija ka takvom ponašanju u nama samima.
That means you imagine something and then, but this will not stay.
To znači zamislite nešto, ali to neće ostati.
Better you patiently go on with your service and with your duties, and then Krishna, you will come purified, and then Krishna satisfied. Everything will be revealed from inside and from outside. Don't fear. Don't be scared.
Zato je bolje da nastavite sa svojom službom i kada dođe vreme za to, Krishna će vam to razotkriti i iznutra i spolja. Nemojte se plašiti.
Because that's Krishna's promise. Tesham nitya payuktanam yoga kshema vahamyaham. When you surrender to me, I will give you what you need and maintain what you have.
Jer Krishna je to obećao. Kada mi se predate, ja ću vam dati sve što vam treba i održavati ono što imate.
Tesham nitya payuktanam yoga kshema vahamyaham. Okay, good. Don't want to make it too long.
Duže.
Finish now?
Dobro, jel u redu? Gotovo?
Kartik?
Okay.
Okay, good. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you. You can help? No, I was.
Oh, okay. Hare Krishna.